Hi, this is Joe Rabil from Rabil Stock Research with your Daily 5. Anyone who has watched any of my analysis in the past knows that I'm a bottom-up technical analyst. However, that does not prevent me from analyzing the indices as well as sector charts. In many cases, it can confirm what I'm seeing on the individual stocks. So today, I actually want to take a look at the S&P chart and then take a look at a few key sector charts. Let's go straight into the first of the daily 5 today, and that's the S&P 500. I've got the weekly chart on the left and a daily chart on the right. I've got MACD, which is a standard MACD. I use a 13.8 ADX on both time frames, in fact, in all time frames. So one of the things I wanted to focus in on was the fact that if you go and look at what's taken place in the S&P, where a pretty strong condition takes place when the 18 crosses above the 40 moving average in any time frame, and then both lines are rising. And from that point on, we've pretty much been in an uptrend. And in reality, looking at these two moving averages, they're moving up at about the same rate. I mean, it's a pretty orderly trend, and price just continues to climb at an orderly rate as well. One of the things, though, that I like to look at is the momentum indicators. And if we go and look at where the condition of this trend was truly confirmed by strength in the momentum, it starts here in September, where the ADX line actually crosses back above 25. Now, the green DI, which represents the strength of the buyers, climbed a little ahead of that. But in reality, once the ADX gets above this 25 line, it's telling you it's strong enough to trend. And so what we're looking for when we make a peak above 25, anytime price makes a new high and the ADX confirms, then we can assume trend continuation to the upside. And if you notice what's taken place since that period, ADX was making new highs up until this point right here. So starting in around June, as price climbed up back to a new high, we did not get confirmation on an ADX basis. And most recently, as this index has continued to climb on the weekly chart, the ADX is failing to confirm again. This is another peak below 25 here. And even though the price continues to climb to the upside, the ADX is still dropping off. And so this is telling me that the buyers are losing strength, because you can see the green is making lower highs as well. It's not necessarily a problem with sellers. In fact, the sellers are very weak. What's happening recently through this period, we had strong selling pressure, buying pressure through this whole period. And then more recently, the buyers have started to dry up a little bit. They're just not as powerful at this point. And so that's what's hurting this ADX line. And we can see this momentum divergence that's kicked in while price has continued to make higher highs, the momentum is not confirming. So I think this is an important factor to keep an eye on. Now, one of the things I'm really watching for is a break to the upside on the sell side. I want to see the sellers break out and show sign that there actually are sellers, because that's really what's been missing through this whole period. The sellers are just not that strong. They've been hanging around the mid to high teens, haven't been able to progress and make any real movement above the green. Green has been above for a very long time. And so if we get a move in the red DI, which is, again, representing the sellers, if we get that, then I think we should be on the lookout for something a little bit more meaningful in terms of a correction, and maybe even we'll finally break this 18-week moving average. So I think this is an important thing to keep an eye on. I am watching this. I'm looking for this red DI to kind of kick into gear. Now, MACD is somewhat confirming as well. It's not really what I would consider to be confirming, as it had every other time we made a move to the upside in price, the MACD eventually confirmed. We have not done that yet. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't push higher and this eventually confirms. And that's why I don't use momentum I would be very careful about just selling because divergence shows up. We want to see price trigger you in when you have a divergence. And we haven't had any kind of a trigger yet that suggests some real distribution taking place. Let's go on to the next chart, XLK. So I want to look at a few sector charts. I'm going to start with the technology sector. And again, I want to focus in on the ADX on the weekly chart. This is another one where the ADX had been pretty strong. And then somewhere in May, when this made a higher high, the ADX couldn't climb above 25. And so that was the first time in this run that we haven't had confirmation. Now we're getting one more move to the upside, and in this case, the green DI is making a higher high here. And so this is another reason why I don't necessarily want to just sell the moment divergence shows up. I'm looking for price to confirm, and we still haven't had any kind of a confirmation of real selling pressure. Look at the volume. We haven't had any real distribution take place recently, but we're on the lookout for that, especially if we go and look at the daily chart. Look at the most recent. We made a higher high here, a higher high here, and a higher high here in price. And look at what the ADX and the MACD have been doing recently. So we should be on the lookout for signs of real sellers to show up. Look at red DI. It's pretty weak on the daily chart. It's weak on the weekly chart. So we need signs of sellers. That's really what I would be on the lookout for if I'm looking for some kind of a reversal to take place. Let's go and look at XLY. This is another pattern where we've been making higher highs and higher lows on the price chart. Look at this weekly, higher highs and higher lows. But look at what MACD has been doing, and look at how there's nobody here. Look at there's no real buying strength whatsoever. Green can't even get above 25. Let alone the ADX is way down at 12. So this is another one. We want to be on the lookout for signs of some kind of real selling pressure. Maybe that's starting right here with this trend line break trying to develop on the daily chart. We're getting some signs of red DI starting to kick in a little bit. This is more of the analysis side than providing you a trade, but I do think there is some potential for some downside weakness here, maybe down to some support levels over the course of the next few weeks to a month or so. Let's take a look at XLF. So this one's totally different in my view. If you go and look at what's taken place, you had this strong move to the upside confirmed by ADX. So ADX is confirming the trend. Even though it has pulled back recently during the consolidation, I would consider this to be pretty strong based on the fact that the ADX got to a reading of about 55 on the last new high. Now we pulled back and held the 18-week, and we're attempting to make a new high, and green DI is starting to kick in again. So this is the type of pattern that I'd be on the lookout for, and I think is pretty positive. So I'd be going and looking at some of the stocks inside the XLF and looking for patterns that I think look attractive. We can see the daily chart cupping around. I think this pullback looks okay. Green DI is starting to kick in on the daily as well. Let's finish up with the XLI. So this is another one where we had a strong move, good momentum confirmation on every new high so far. This is a very strong peak up around in the low 40s. And actually the ADX keeps making higher highs as this price does as well. So anytime I see ADX making a strong reading like that, I'm still thinking upside continuation. Now, based on the fact that the MACD, and this is true of the XLF as well, the MACD is pulling back and correcting. It's very possible we could be in for maybe a little bit of a pullback first before this gets going again. But my bias based on this ADX reading is to the upside. I would be inclined to think that after this pause ends, there's going to be more upside continuation. So this is another area where I think I would be focusing in on the individual stocks, especially the ones that have similar patterns to this, that have shown good ADX strength in the pattern. And in the on the last leg to the upside. Look at this pattern on the daily chart. Nice little cup and handle forming, improving DI. If we can get this to turn back up here, I think there should be some upside continuation. So that is our daily 5 for today. I hope you enjoyed this segment. You can contact me through LinkedIn or find my research on rabilstockresearch.com. In addition, I have a YouTube channel and a book called Invest Like a Pro, which teaches investors how to use trend and momentum in multiple time frames. Have a great trading day, and I will see you next time.
Hey, Grayson Rose here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're gonna bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.